Hey, you guys, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Lucretia, and what I do is I help families organize what matters most in terms of creating an emergency plan for your family. So, yes, even if you're okay, your family's okay, your kids are thriving and doing well, this is the best time to put plans in place to make sure that everybody understands their major role or their role in terms of like making major medical decisions. I put this together because I lost a loved one unexpectedly, and I found myself sitting in front of a funeral director having no clue where to find a lot of information. Even though we talked about a lot of different things, there were so many details that got missed because I didn't have anything written down. Now that I know better, I understand that it's important to sit down with your loved ones and the people that will be helping out, people like your beneficiary, people that are going to be making major medical decisions on your behalf. Sit down with everybody so everybody understands the role that they play when it comes to doing something like this. So, the name of my book is called, actually, this is a planner because you are going through and planning out certain things as you go through it. But the name of it is called Questions Now or Regrets Later. This planner provides the essential questions families will need to be answered for medical illness or even in death. Some people get freaked out when they see that word death. And they're like, oh my gosh, what is this? But it doesn't have to be a scary thing. So I dedicate this planner to my mom. Her name was Cordy L. Peters. They just called her T. No, I have never heard anybody with the same name, as a matter of fact. And then you see my quote here where it says, everybody dies, but not everyone is prepared to go. And I find that to be true more and more as time goes on. So I have my table of contents. I have a lot of different things that I hit on because everything that I put down in here was an obstacle that I came up against when it came time to plan my mom's funeral. So just a little few chapters here: the planners and investment, important conversation starters, to-do list. I had no idea where to start. That was super important. So I was like, man, I wish I had a checklist to look at. Important persons to contact, death certificate, all those things. So I'm just going to go over a few of them. Why is this planner an investment? I say it right here. Important conversation starters for friends and family. A note for me. So something that I run into pretty much on a daily basis, anytime I'm talking with people about this, I hear at least one of these reasons why people think they don't need life insurance. Life insurance is extremely important, not necessarily for you, although it's important for you, but more so for the beneficiaries who will have to help if anything happens to you. So I need you to think about it. Like if something happened and you don't have the money to pay for things, and your family doesn't have the money, and then you unexpectedly pass away, where is your family going to live? How is your family going to pay for this? Like doing fundraisers on Facebook may help a little bit, but I'm telling you, it's not going to cover everything. Like funeral costs today to bury or have somebody cremated, it starts at anywhere from $3,500 all the way up to $8,000. That's on the low end. Okay, if you're not trying to do anything super extravagant, that's keeping it really basic. So I've got some things in here where I've heard people say, I'm young and I don't have any family or assets to pass on to anyone. And then I have the facts here. These are not feelings, okay, because feelings change. These are proven facts. And this situation is not about what you can pass on. It is about the debt you will leave for a family member in terms of final expense. Who gets stuck with this bill? So go through all these questions. This will help you to have a better understanding why every person, I don't care how old you are, needs life insurance. Life insurance is actually set up to help you with life, not just with death. And so you'll have to talk to your licensed agent so they can help you to better understand that. But I'm giving you some tools so that when you go in, you're not going in not knowing what questions you should ask. I have my disclaimer here. To-do list, important persons, death certificate, questions to ask your life insurance agent. This stuff is so vital. I cannot express how important this is and how many times it gets disregarded because people think it's not important until it is important. All right, so the next thing I have is questions to ask your beneficiary. Okay, so I have so many stories with that in itself, which is why I started to write these questions down, because the beneficiary, when it came time to my mom's funeral, they did not understand how important their role was. And because they didn't understand that, it made my job of planning the funeral a lot harder, even though It was just a thing of when it comes to experience. They had never experienced it. I had never experienced it, but because they didn't understand their role, it made my role harder. So it's the information, pet information, interest and hobbies, your spouse's details, like all these things are questions they will ask. Okay. Now, these are not necessarily necessary, but they're extremely helpful for the people that get left behind. So if you have kids, you want to leave some notes for them. Like, what do you think that they're doing? Like, what's important to you? What hopes and dreams do you have for your kids? You want to leave these things because I promise you, whether it's now or 10 years from now, they will come back and look at it and be like, wow, thank you for leaving these notes. I still find books where my mom wrote notes, and I'm like, I'm so glad she put this stuff in here. So I created this book primarily because I think about all the conversations that my mom had with me, even at a young age. And I'm talking about like 9, 10 years old. And a lot of times I would be like, why are we talking about this? But now, as a mom of 3 girls with a husband in my own business and everything, I understand her conversations. These conversations are important to write down for your kids. And it's not just like really vain, repetitious things. It's like, what is your version of integrity? What is your version of courage? Like, what was a hard situation for you? What are your hopes and dreams for your kids? Dealing with hard situations, doing the right thing with nobody. Like, these are conversations that they need to have, and they need to hear it from their parent. So whether they're 7 or they're 17 or 70, as a parent, you want to do things to help make life a little bit easier for them. You're not doing things for them, but you're helping them to understand the importance. And I promise you, this book is there to help you with that. So then we've got notes for siblings, grandchildren, questions to ask your lawyer, very important, advanced directives to consider. So I put a lot of time and energy into this because I was just lost, didn't understand what I was signing up for. Funeral information, and this is where people get a little freaked out, but I'm telling you, like, to have it written down makes it easier on your family because then they're not guessing. I can't stress that enough. So on this last page that I'm going to kind of look more at. So as you're reading this, it says, are you a parent, a caregiver, or working with a community of people who will benefit from this book? I teach a class to cover what's in this book. So it has more of a breakdown of how I do things. Here's what I do. Here's how I do it. Here's how I learned it, why I do it, and here's how I can help you. This is probably one of the most important things you can do. It doesn't take a lot of time, 1 to 2 hours max. And what I do is I meet with the person that's wanting to get their affairs together. And I know when you hear affairs, like, it seems like so tedious, so hard. Depending on your situation, it may or may not be. It may be extremely simplified depending on how much stuff you have together. Okay, so every person, every situation is a little bit different. But what I do is I meet with the person that wants to set all this stuff up. Then I ask them a few questions, one being like, who are your major medical decision makers? Like, who's going to speak on your behalf? That's a person that you want to have in this meeting. Who is going to be your beneficiary? That's a person you want to have in this meeting. Anybody that's going to have some type of say-so dealing with you in a medical way, or whether it's putting, arrangements together, you want to have them there so everybody hears what their role is and everybody understands what your wishes are. In addition to that, everybody knows how important their role will be. Had I known better, I would have done this with my own family, but you guys get to learn from my mistakes and not make the mistakes that we made. Just thinking that you can figure it out. If you think you can figure it out when you're stressed out and you've lost a loved one, especially if it's somebody that you're close to, you're not looking at it from a reality point of view, because when you've lost a loved one, I don't care who you are, you're not thinking as clearly as you normally would. All right, so that's all I have in terms of this. Accounts payable upon death, understanding grief. And then I left some blank pages because I found myself making notes all the time, and then I would set them down somewhere and forget them, and I have to try to remember what I wrote. So again, everything that is in here is a situation that I came up against. My goal is to help families organize what matters most in terms of creating an emergency plan or end-of-life planning, however you want to look at that. And like I said in the beginning, it doesn't matter if you're okay, your spouse is okay, your family is doing well, your parents are alive and well, helping you with the grandkids. This is the perfect time to put this stuff together because you don't want to have to react. You want to respond and know, like, okay, this is what's going on. I know what to do. I'm telling you from personal experience, Being proactive with situations like this will save your family time, save your family stress, and save your family a lot of money. Because the simple fact is, you pay more for the information you don't know. Thank you guys so much for stopping to listen to what I have to say. If you want more information or like to order this book, you can go to my website. It's www.notyourtypicalplanner.com. And you literally just click on order via mail. I send these out mail. I don't do a digital file on this. And then it will come to you shortly. If you'd like to email me or if you have questions about anything, my email is the letter B, the number 4, the letter B, Tulsa @gmail.com. I look forward to hearing from you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.